Let me know when you're ready. Hello.
Yeah, so you just start.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my name's Lucille White, and I'll be doing a live demonstration of me working with the Throat Center. And this follows on with evaluation I did of Anu's centers a couple of weeks ago. And we noticed with her throat center that her energy wasn't actually operating out of her throat center. So I'm going to go straight into the session. I'm going to first of all connect with Anu's energy, and then I'm going to connect directly with that energy in the throat center. And we're just going to explore, and we're going to try and get that energy back in. Okay.
Thank you, Lucille. Really.
Pleasure. So we have a little less time than I usually do, but I completely trust this process. It's going to be the perfect time. Okay, so let's get started. So how I like to start, I like to draw a resonance symbol, and I'm going to communicate with this energy and get some information about what's going on there. And then from there, we go from there. Okay, so how you doing? Are you good?
Yeah, absolutely fine.
Good. You look beautiful.
Thank you. So do
Okay. So I'm going to show you the symbol. Okay, so the symbol came like that, outward and into this tiny little circle over there. So let me get the message so we'll be able to interpret the symbol a little bit better. Okay. Okay. So as we identified last time, that energy center has pulled right back. So that energy, so it's not actually residing in its true, authentic position. So you don't have full access to it. And we also explored, you've been doing a lot of Zoom videos, and you really have created this amazing context for people to have a place of expression. And I mean, really, I mean, it's quite admirable what you've done, but in some ways it's been a little bit of a red flag, because I'm going, what's behind that? That feels quite safe. And you've been doing it in the lockdown, so it's been a very interesting timing that you've done this. So the message I get from this is, I'm petrified of coming out into the open. What will everyone think of me? It is not safe. The world is a nasty place. When I did it before, I was ridiculed. I keep to my safe place. I'm protected here. Mm-hmm. So when I say those words, do you connect with it? I mean, this may have been in your earlier years. I mean, we are talking about past life now, but let's just see what you connect with.
I think it's in my culture, and it comes very much from my mom's. She's got this constant statement, there's no point in telling anyone anything. There's no point in saying anything. And often these words have been used more than 3 times a day or 4 times a day. And she used it like how you say, I love you, that's how it is. So even if you have to
goosebumps.
Say to someone like, you know, what you're doing isn't okay with me, she'll just kind of say, well, what's the point of telling anyone anything? People anyway don't hear. People anyway do what they have to do. It's basically used in my culture to, the women are, if you want to keep the harmony of the house, then it's best to keep your opinion to yourself. And you could express, but really if you're going to express what you really want to express, it's not going to be taken, it's going to be ridiculed. It's going to be, you're a rebel, and that's not going to be looked up at. That's going to be something where you're not tamed enough. You're not good enough to fit into the world that we believe is correct. So yeah, it basically means that that it could, in many ways, impact my belonging. And that's not that anybody's ever thrown me off from anywhere, but that's not the point. It's about my mom is someone who's very quiet, and if she sits in a room full of 100 people, you wouldn't know where she is. She's a very, very pretty lady, but she's a very quiet lady. And she's not so quiet at home, but she's very quiet. So she really believes that talking doesn't make sense. It's the actions or even silence that gets you far more than expressing your views. So if someone says to me, hey, we got to talk about something serious, I hear other people's seriousness all the time, but I don't have a place to express, because if I do, then, oh, that's how it has been, yes.
Yeah. So that's exactly what this symbol is all about. You know, as you wanted to, you've been pulled back energetically over time, pulling back to this tiny little, space where you don't even exist. You can't even see yourself in that expression. Yeah. So it's moved out. So what we want to do is, I'm going to do a hypnosis session with you. But I just want to, so we can just really pull that energy back. So while I do that, I'll be doing the energy healing. But we're going to do this together. Yeah, I like sort of collaboration. I want to challenge. I mean, this is challenging your mother's belief too. So now, if you can do the correction within yourself, you know, you really do impact the whole matrix. Yeah. So why is it the world is, it's almost like the world is not a safe place. The world's a nasty place. They're going to take your words and you're going to be ridiculed. I want to find out a little bit more about that. Yeah. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tune into that frequency and get more information, because I just feel like I want to build this up a little bit more. Because what caused that belief? Because that's a belief that she probably adopted, and it goes through many generations. And you say it's very entrenched in your Indian culture too.
I think it's very deep in my mom's epigenealogy, or in the belief line, because I saw women protecting men. I didn't see them. So it's not that we cannot speak. It's not that I do not speak. I have spoken. I think I'm pretty transparent and my life is pretty open. But what I don't speak about is about what my loved ones probably, even if I don't like something, I'll be very protective.
Sure. So let's get more information. I'm going to go into that frequency, and I want to go deeper. I want to really get to the heart of this. Where did this stem from, and how has this actually been a gift? Because I believe with everything there's been a gift. There's a gift in it. Yeah. And it's really to acknowledge the gift and actually say, well, that energy is like, well, give gratitude, thank you, and it's time to move on. I'm no longer getting the wisdoms that I need to get. Okay, so we want to go into there, and as I'm talking, I am going into it. Just kind of allows me to get there, and I'm really getting, as I'm moving into that energy, I'm feeling like, it's interesting. Not so many tingles in my upper half, but more my kind of lower half, and my legs are, my skin is almost getting kind of cold and tingly. So there's almost a kind of a shame attached to this. I'm getting really cold now as I'm moving into this, and it feels very, very deep and cold and isolated. And really in that little, gone into that little corner of, yeah, I mean, this goes so far back, and we're really, really moving with that energy, right, to really get to the root of this now. Whew. And I'm really getting cold now. It's my skin, it doesn't feel nice as it moves through me. So we're almost there. Just making notes now. One second. Cool. And this is very deep, sure. Sure. It's a long message. But wow. Wow. Get goosebumps. Okay. So this really goes so far back. I mean, wow. Okay. So when there was once only you and I, we weren't ashamed. Now, as more souls emerged, we became self-conscious to the point we were forced to hide. The more we became hidden, the more layers we had to wear, until our identity was so well hidden. Now there is a new shame of being so far removed from our true, authentic self. I am unsure how to return without feeling self-conscious. Again, I want to express my true self. Whew. What comes up when you hear that?
Could you repeat that again, please? Thank you.
Sure. When there was once only you and I, we weren't ashamed. Now, as more and more souls emerge, we become so self-conscious to the point where we are forced to hide. The more we hide, we become hidden. The more we become hidden, the more layers we have to wear until our identity was so well hidden. Now there is a new shame of being so far removed from our authentic selves. I am unsure how to return without feeling self-conscious again, and only want to express my true self.
I think it's again connected with the culture part of it. I mean, in my culture, you can't fall in love. You can't ever be unfaithful. It's considered unfaithful to even like I've been joking with everyone and asking over the Zoom sessions, what is love? I've been married for 28 years. That does not mean I don't know what's love or sex or whatever. But that's not what I'm asking. I'm probably asking, why is there so much of shame attached to love?
Yeah.
Why are people in relationships that they should never be? You know, Richard Fluke used to use one line that always caught my attention. And what was that? He used to say, you should have never fallen in love with someone that you should have never fallen in love with. The first time he ever spoke that line, ages back when I was in Czech Republic, I heard him and I said, what is he talking about? We don't.
Can you repeat that line again? Because I really want to hear it.
Let me recap it again. Sometimes you really fall in love with someone you should never, ever fall in love with.
Wow.
And
Quite profound.
very profound. This must have been in 2008 when I first heard him say that. Once you're married, especially from the generation that I am coming, everything to do with love is done with. You can love your children, but you cannot ever fall in love ever again.
Wow.
And I believe when we are growing up and we are still finding our way with our education, finding ourselves, evolving, there are stages in which you will look at people, and it's not about just a man and woman love. It's just about saying, I'm committed to you and I can never look at anyone else and even think of committing. I feel in my epigenealogy, where women were never asked, my grandmother was shown my grandfather's face on the day she got married. I mean, that's culture.
It's so, I mean, I'm trying to put myself in that picture. You know, on the day that I was married, someone showed me the face of my husband. I mean, I can't even relate.
She was the 5-0, a fair looking lady, Chinese looking lady, marrying a man who was, who looked like he had come, he was very dark, very, very. And the first time she ever realized he's so dark is when he put his hand out and she put her hand there. And the stark difference between the color was evident at the time that they got married. That was my grandmom. I don't know before that what happened.
I get goosebumps just.
Yeah. And then, my mom was a bit better because I don't know what was the age when my grandmom got married. But my mom got married when she was all of 19. She was a mother by the time she was 20. And she looks very young is because she is young. And my father was not a businessman. He hardly, he wasn't a businessman. My grandfather didn't even know that he's actually like an orphan kind of a thing, because his mom had expired when he was 2. And my grandfather thought that he was someone else's son. I mean, she realized on the day that she got married that he didn't have a mom. They met each other for a year, but they even like the engagement, once you're engaged to the guy, you're as good as you've committed and you're married to the guy. Of course, things were much better at my time. My father made sure that I educated myself. His only one dream was, you must be a specialist. And I often feel that it's because of him and his dream that I kept studying, I kept getting awards and bringing it for him. But if it was for my mom's family, it would be okay if I knew my 10th grade and I would have done my 12th grade, or I would have just done a plain, simple graduation. It wouldn't have mattered. What would have mattered is how I looked. Whether my hair was well fixed, I didn't have a wrinkle on my face, and I looked attractive. That was more important. For years, I only drew faces till I realized that I was fading away faces when I was looking at people during the coronavirus. And then it struck me the faces were so important for me. Expression on the face, how pretty it looks, how well kept it is, told me that, oh, you're fine, you fit in. So I took the education from my dad and took the idea of looking fixed always from my mom's side. And that was extremely important to belong. Again, when it comes down to my marriage, I think I must have seen my parents were going through the arranged marriage. I was teaching in college. I was a professor, lecturer, and the only thing that was important for them, I was 24, the only thing that was important for them was that I get married. From 20, I was barely 22 years of age when my mom, actually, I could hear her sobbing and crying that my daughters got too educated and there aren't people around because, all the educated men in my community were not educated enough because they were doing business, and business and education does not go together.
Mm.
And what's really interesting is I remember the conversation I had with my mom. I got so fed up of looking at one guy after the other. It was like, I'm showing myself in a market. Can you please marry me? I
No,
was
I mean,
I was
it's just unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable.
educated.
Anu, I want to just check in with you for time, because the hypnosis probably takes about half an hour. We only had an hour. How are we doing for time?
We have we can go right up till 2:55, so we are okay.
So how long is this? How long is it?
We have about 40-45 minutes more. So check.
Okay, so let's move into that, because I really want to. I mean, this center is feeling so self-conscious. Okay, so we want to give it some more resources, so you can, hopefully stop that pattern. Because it's so entrenched with your culture. I mean, for me, listening to you, it's heavy. It's really heavy stuff. The energy is heavy. I mean, this is when I'm with this energy, it's so heavily loaded, and we need to kind of bring some light into that center, so allow it to kind of land and settle with some space and freedom. To really give it space and freedom to almost pave a new way. Like
Absolutely, I hear you.
a new way of being in your culture.
So I respect my culture completely, and that's important for me to say because we are on Facebook Live, and I don't want to be hurting anybody's sentiments, and that's not from where I'm coming.
Yes, of course.
To respect whatever comes with the culture, and it's that every generation tried their best to give best and better to their children.
Yeah.
It's just so unfortunate because they were not equipped with the resources, they couldn't give it. So this coming to me is not a joke because my daughter turns 24 today. It's her birthday. And
Wow.
I went back to me being 24.
Wow. Sure.
So maybe with me cleaning up my space, we might just give Divya wings, because to be the wind under someone's wings, you have to have the wings.
I just remembered. So we haven't found out what the gift is. Okay, so we've explored that part. So let's before we do the healing, let's find out the gift, because there's a gift in everything, and I don't believe even that there's a mistake.
There is no.
I really honor that divine perfection. So let me get into that gift, because already just looking at the gift, it opens it up. It opens it up and allows for this next process to happen. So let me get into. Thank you for sharing. That was very interesting and heavy. And it is interesting that you've created this platform for so many people in your culture to find a voice in a way that's not very much in line with your culture, to be so open and so vulnerable in such an open public platform. So already you are a pioneer in paving the way for doing something differently. And it's okay, because we've created the space and you're so well protected. So that's what you're doing already. So it is beautiful. I mean, this unfolding is beautiful. Okay. Wow. Oh, get goosebumps. Wow. This is something we could all learn about, especially in the Western cultures. And I was talking to someone the other day, and he was saying that with women, we're working on the feminine energy, and with women, it is all about beauty. It is all about beauty. It's about expressing that beauty. So when I read this, I'm reminded of that beautiful conversation that we had. So you ready to receive this? Yeah. So there's something beautiful about preserving one's essence, like a beautiful rosebud still tightly wrapped. None of the essence has been exposed, still perfectly wrapped. When we honor our essence, we honor the divine and beauty. So that's, wow, that gave me goosebumps because that's, sure. And it's really interesting because there's so much beauty in your culture with the woman. I mean, there's a beauty is of a very high value, isn't it, in your culture?
And
the woman.
it's not just that the woman is beautiful because she wears bright colors. It's the brightness she creates despite what she goes through.
Wow.
It's how she wraps herself in a sari, and it's layer on layer. Our dress teaches us that our personality is layer on layer. And
Wow.
no matter what happens, she knows where she stands, and she knows that her man cannot do without her, children cannot do without her. She's very humble, and she's constantly pretending either to be happy or constantly pretending to be not as good as, so that the man can feel better. And when the jokes are on her of how she, over a period of so many years, has become more like a, how do you put it? Because I'm literally thinking in my language right now. Over a period of 20, 25, 30 years in her marriage, children don't need her in the same way. The husband is becoming older, and she still needs to look beautiful. And she still needs to look as if life hasn't left a mark on her life. And she's still vulnerable. She's still agile. She's still flexible. Because now will come the next generation and her grandchildren who will need her softness. who will fill her space far more than she can think of anything else. So her life unfolds, and she, as a woman, experiences what it is to be just a girl who has no boys, what it is to be a woman, still probably with no boys, and then a mother in law with some boys, and then maybe a grandmother who has who tells the tales of the days that were not okay and okay in a way to her grandchildren that they get inspiration out of it. It's a learning process, Lucille.
Amazing.
It's wrapped up in so many layers. If you look at it from one side, it looks rigid, it looks unbelievable, it looks horrible. And if you look at it from the other side, when they're actually finding a companion for you, they're not forcing you into anything. They're saying, my dear daughter, this is who I think is best for you. And I will stand close to you, making sure that if this man doesn't treat you well, I will be there for you. I don't leave you alone, but you promise that you adhere to this culture and don't make us look down. The girl in my culture is considered a goddess. The girl in my culture is considered Shakti power. And the girl in my culture is treated with harshness and with softness so that she can go through various different transformations. She can be like the Durga who can kill, and she's given those tools. In the Sardarnis carry a karpan, which is um, a knife. By law, she's allowed to use that knife if someone walks over her. Respect. She's the respect of the family. She is the jewel of the family, which you wear over the head. For the communities where the woman is not treated properly, that turban comes down off the man because he couldn't treat that woman well. And yet, this is the same country in which the girl gets treated really badly and gets raped.
Well,
But it's about
there's the duality.
there is huge duality, but never look at just the negative side. Look,
No, no, and that's just why I wanted to see where's the gift, where's the beauty within this? Because what you shared, I mean, that's really allowed me to see your culture through different eyes. So I am thank you for that sharing.
no, in no times was the man made to sit on a funeral pile of a woman and said, die with her, because he didn't have the essence. It's when the man died and they couldn't protect the women and her honor from the Arabs and the Mughals, is when they suggested that the Hindu women will burn themselves with the man when he dies. Of course, it wasn't right.
Yeah.
So we've had the crudeness on both the sides. But you know what? Despite that, the woman is wrapped in the most beautiful colors that you can ever find on the planet Earth.
Those rose petals.
Yes.
Let's take that into our next part of the session. So this is a guided session. And we're going to just support this energy now. So I like you to kind of get into the position that I'm in. So I'm seated on my chair. I've got my legs and the feet planted on the ground. And just kind of move into the breath in your chest and just get in contact with that breath, however you do that. And I feel like I want to put my right hand on my thigh, but closer to my knee, yeah? And then the other one pull back slightly in your left, so you're in that position. You can have your eyes open or closed. I tend to just want to close my eyes. It's purely up to you. So as you are moving into this position, I'd just like you to become aware of the position of your hands. And as you get in contact with, perhaps get in contact with your right hand first, just feel into, let's just bring this down a notch. Feel into the energy of that hand. The more you take your focus to the energy of the hand, you may even feel the energy starting to tingle. And notice how this hand is placed forward in a way that it's ready to go. It's always ready to go. You can imagine at the start of a running race, the one foot is always forward. And you take off with that foot. Well, in the same way, this hand placed forward is ready to go. Just feel into that energy that's ready to go. And just become present with the temperature that it forms as it is in contact with your thigh. You may feel that area is starting to warm up slightly. Just become aware of how much surface area that hand takes. Also just become aware beyond that point of contact. Just become aware of that temperature around the rest of your thigh, on your knee. You may feel that temperature is slightly cooler. And really feeling into that hand being so securely placed on that thigh. And just becoming aware of the atmosphere above that hand, the coolness of the hair, of the air. And you may even find that after a while that hand feels so connected to that part of the thigh that it almost feels like one, feeling so connected, ready to go. It's actually becoming hard to differentiate between your thigh and your hand as it feels so connected, ready to go. Just slowly get in contact with your breath again, allowing it to move inside your chest as you just slowly move into that breath. Now I'd like you to just take your awareness to your other hand, your left hand, placed further back on your thigh. And with that hand, I'd like you to lift your palm up. So just the tips of your fingertips are making contact with your thigh. Just the 5 tips of your fingertips making contact with that thigh. ever so softly with your palm raised up. And just allow that contact to become stronger. Just allow that contact to become stronger as you move your upper torso just ever so gently from side to side. Just becoming aware of your feet placed on the floor, feeling how heavy your feet becoming placed on the floor. And just notice the angle of your legs, your knees and your thighs, maybe at a 90-degree angle. So you just slowly move your upper torso, noticing your feet placed on the floor. So you slowly move your upper torso. Now I just want you to take your awareness to the tip of your nose. Just take your awareness to the tip of your nose. As you breathe your breath in and out of your mouth. Just allowing your mind to drift. Just allowing your mind to drift back and forth, back and forth, allowing your mind to drift back and forth. Now, as you take your awareness to your right hand that is firmly connected to your thigh, you notice how your thigh and your hand have become one. And if you try lifting your hand up, you may find that the connection to your thigh feels better than releasing your hand. Just feel into the palm of your right hand, feeling how ever so comfortable that hand is placed, supported by your right thigh. Now, I'd like you to take your attention to your left hand, your fingertips. And I'd like you to try move those fingers. You may feel that those fingertips feel like they've been sucked into your thigh, pressed in deeply, unable to move, unable to move. Pressing those fingers deeply in your thighs, unable to move. With your fingers, just make a circular movement, moving round and round. Just try and move it as fast as possible without releasing those fingertips to the thighs. Dig in those fingertips. Just slightly into your thighs. Now, with your right hand and your fingertips connected to your thighs, I want you to slowly, slowly pull backwards, still firmly connected. Still firmly connected. Pull in backwards as you pull in the energy backwards, still firmly connected, making that contact to your thighs. Notice how each hand is able to remain firmly connected, regardless of how much contact to the surface they have, regardless to the amount of contact to the surface they have, they're able to remain fully connected and in position. As you pull back, I want you to use all your strength, remaining fully connected. You may feel like you pull in the skin backwards, but yet still holding on, pulling the skin backwards, still holding on, pulling that energy backwards. And on the count of 3, I want you to release those hands from your skin. On the count of 3, I want you to release those hands on your thigh. And as you release, you may find that your hands and arms move quickly backwards. Move quickly backwards. Holding on, as if you're holding on for dear life. Holding on, your right hand fully in contact with your thigh, your left hand fully in contact with your fingertips. Holding on for dear life. On the count of 3, you release and let go. Holding on. On the count of 3, release and let go. 1, 2, 3. Take your hands and just gently move them back onto your thighs, just rubbing your thighs. Rubbing your thighs in circular motion, in opposite circular motions, from the one hand to the next. Gently rubbing your thighs. On your right hand, I want you to rub your thighs in the anti-clockwise direction, only using your fingertips. Anti-clockwise direction, only using your fingertips. And on the left side, I want you to place your hand flat gently on your thighs, and you're going to move in a clockwise direction. Move it slowly in a clockwise direction around your thighs. So your right hand, your fingertips are moving in an anti-clockwise direction. Your left hand is moving into a clockwise direction. Your hand fully connected to your thigh. And just be present with the movement, observing what happens as you move. Not forcing anything to happen, allowing the movement to find its own rhythm. A new rhythm, integrated rhythm, integrating the masculine and feminine within your feminine energy. Slowly bringing that movement to a gradual stop. Placing your hands both firmly somewhere on your thigh. It feels most comfortable and most supported. Allowing that energy to move into place. As that energy knows what it needs to support you. What's happening with the energy? You.
What's happening is that I'm feeling very relaxed.
I'm feeling a little bit of tension with the energy around you. A little bit of your neck and your chest. A little bit. Just a little bit. It almost feels like the energy is just there. There's this last little bit of apprehension. Okay. I want to draw a symbol, and I'm going to get a message, and this will give us some insights to how that energy shifted. Wow. So that's what we had before. This is where it is now.
Wow.
Beautiful, balanced. Let's get a message. That's a big shift there. Wow. Okay. And this is almost what this energy is ready to support. So the words, my ability to integrate the information I receive gives me hope along my path. So much meaning and balance is ready to integrate. Yeah. So that's what this energy is supporting you going forward. So let's see how it unfolds. We did get the information last time that this is going to take a few months to settle in, to really find its new home. Well, I wouldn't say new home, but kind of its new purpose now.
Yeah.
In a new way of expressing. So yeah, that completes that. I think we're good with timing as well. Do you have anything to complete with, or would you like to share anything? We leave it at that.
I just, I would just say it's best that we observe and see what happens. I'm sure there's a lot coming up. And yeah, I'm very, very thankful, extremely in gratitude for your time and your energy. It's very, very kind of you to do what you've done. And more than me, I think I've been used to the way of living. If it releases my daughter and the children to come and people who are connected to me, that would be real empowerment. And that's what I look forward to. Because
Yes.
I do believe if I change my ways, there is a possibility that my children can. So thank you for giving that huge hope to the generation that something different can be done with grace.
Yes, and I just like to add to that because the last sentence is so much meaning and balance. There's a lot of emphasis on the word balance, which is ready to integrate. So it's a big integration process, rebalancing on this new path, which it'll be very interesting to observe, how that unfolds out into, real life.
Yeah. And the only thing I have to tell myself, it's best to just kind of let it flow.
Absolutely. And not to do anything. When we do an energy correction, it's not for you to do, it's for you to, the only thing I actually say is for you to hand over the authority to your energy. And let the energy guide you as opposed to, working out of your mind. And that's what I'm learning. And the more I surrender to allowing the energy to move me and me just following, then, it's very freeing. Yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. And thank you. Thank you for allowing yourself to be so vulnerable on this live.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And sharing.
And
Okay.
vulnerability is a place of creativity. If I don't let that happen, nothing is going to move for me. Thank you.
Thank you. And goodbye.
Goodbye. So.